in the Constitution. They can easily amend it if they want to amend it. They can make the right changes if they want to make those changes. So it's more or less a thing of self-will, the will to do the right thing. If there's the will to do the right thing amongst our political class, I believe we can actually get it right as a country.
Robert Wanye, I would like to say a big thank you for coming to share with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
On the program.
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap on our discussion this morning. Queen Agaba and I will be back shortly to wrap it up on Global Morning. Do stay with us, everyone.
It's time for sports' biggest moments on global television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk sports with the king of sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Hello, children. Gather around, let me tell you a story. Do you know that stories have a way of captivating the minds of children, bringing fun and imagination to teach them morals? Join Sharon Ajay as she takes you to explore the thrilling and exciting world of storytelling.
I'll be sharing with you our next interesting story.
Tune in every Saturday on Global Television, time 5:30 p.m.
Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momodu on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are definitely. Can we not say that again? Because
that this country gets it right?
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television.
Thank you, everyone, for staying with us here on Global Morning. Is that part of the show where we do some sort of summarizing and call it a day on Monday's edition of Global Morning. Incidentally, Queen Agaba is back on the show. She's been away for a while.
Yes,
yeah. So I was just talking with my guest a while ago. You know, there must be a lesson you learn from every, I mean, I believe that, quite frankly, from every situation, no matter how bad or nasty or devastating maybe, there must be something you're taking away from it as long as you're alive. So in the case of the US, for example, I was just talking to my guest and asking him, what are some of the lessons we can learn from all of this? Of course, we have not had cases of shooting and so on and so forth, you know, but we've also had our own peculiar challenges with our electoral process. You know, the role that money plays above even the law most times. You know, we've seen countless number of electoral malpractices, sometimes outright fraud regarding the electoral process itself. We've asked questions about internal democracy to the point that even the party leaders themselves are now beginning to see that they have a lot of problems internally and coming to realize that until those problems are addressed, there's next to nothing we can achieve, meaningfully speaking, with outcomes of elections. And he also spoke to some of those issues. Our own process has evolved at home. Well, there was a time where the voter card was more like on paper, you had to laminate it. And then we migrated from that to the PVC, the permanent voter cards. In between, we saw the card reader that was also very problematic at the point. Even a sitting president almost could not vote. His wife almost could not vote in this country. And then today we're talking about the BVAS, the Biable Voter Accreditation System. So that's how far we've come. But all of these innovations still have not answered the core questions regarding our electoral process, have they?
No, they haven't. True. Take, for instance, the cycling back to President Donald Trump's, ex-President Donald Trump's assassination attack. For a country like the U.S., where it's expected that we should see maybe heightened level of security, and then we don't have that much cases of insecurity as we have in Nigeria here, where you see that play out in a rally, in a public gathering of such nature, and then you want to bring it back, circle the scenario back to Nigeria, and see how even more how the opportunity presents itself by itself. How it's even easier to have your way in such gatherings where people are gathered like that. And of course, we've had situations where we have suicide bombers. Recently, there was a recent suicide bomb attack in one of the northern states that we hear of recently. And so we want to tighten our security architecture and also take decisive measures to ensure that people are safe, especially in public gatherings. And now back to our electoral process, with the issues of beavers, with the issues of power supply, transportation, logistics when it comes to election, and security again, I would say we've had cases, several cases we've seen in the media where people are running helter-skelter and scampering for safety, against hoodlums attack right where they want to vote, So we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go in terms of free and fair elections. And then we continue to talk about election being free and fair. Election will never be free and fair if we don't put measures in place to ensure that, can INEC give us the award and let the award be the award? When they say that the beavers are not going to have issues, accreditation is going to be seamless, everything has been properly checked. You have at least 4 years to prepare for an election.
Right.
So we would not entertain excuses on the day of the elections as to the gadgets we're using to ensure that elections are free and fair. We will not take excuses. So when those excuses come, it could mean one of two things. That we have a very negligent Independent National Electoral Commission, a weak INEC system here, or INEC is trying to sabotage the election in favor of somebody. They're being biased. So that's what it means, obviously, because you have 4 years to prepare for an election, and then we hear on the day of the election that so and so gadgets are not working, or very lame excuses as to logistics. I mean, logistics should have been planned for, prepared for. We shouldn't be having issues of logistics on the day of the election. Know about roads. Okay, now we see all of the hindrances in the last election, all of the troubles that we've had to face in the last election. I keep saying that it is foolishness to do one thing over and over again and expect a different result. Now you want to sit down. It is only wisdom for you to sit down and reflect. A wise person, a wise system, a wise organization will sit back and reflect. What are the lapses in the last election? We had issues of logistics. We had issues of beavers malfunctioning. We had issues of insecurity. We had issues of people maybe not coming out to vote, or malpractices here and there, or we saw accreditation papers when we're not supposed to, and all of that. How do we curtail it? How do we ensure that there's never a repeat of those incidences and issues that happened in the last election? First of all, we have to factor logistics now. Strategic positions, security here and there. Just put heads together and ensure that election in Nigeria, the next election is better, way more better than the previous election. So we have the INEC to blame. It just means if we see a repeat of what happened in the last election, it just means that they're either not sensitive enough and they are not proactive, or they're just or they're not independent, as they put it. They're not independent in the sense of independent. And so we need to, you know, be more proactive as regards election in Nigeria to ensure that, you know, the system is not marred with irregularities.
I think that's what we'll leave it, even though we know some persons will argue and say, you know, INEC doesn't really have 4 years, because in between every 4-year cycle of elections, they have off-grid elections, you know, across states, whether it's Bayelsa, Imo, Anambra, Kogi, Edo, Ondo, and so on and so forth. But excuses devalue a man. If we continue to give ourselves excuses, we won't make progress as a country, whether it's about our election or about our economy or health or education or critical infrastructure, right? Okay, it's a full cycle already on the program, and Queen, myself, and the entire team here at Global Television say we appreciate you for the time that you have invested with us on Global Morning this Monday. Tomorrow, the team is back here with Tuesday's edition of Global Morning. I am Uyi Agmofwebe. Have a great day. Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too. For sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from.
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
The struggle with the strike.
You have done your work and put us to the wall. We are not the slaves.
I'm not a small boy. You should have given me the report.
I have not seen the report.